Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an article titled Age Shaming Men Who Only Want Younger Women is Justified. And guys, this article is about a woman, written by a woman who's in her 40s, and is basically not only complaining that guys in her age range, the 40s, aren't interested in her, but I guess other women her age, but she takes it one step further to go about trying to shame these guys. No joke. You're going to see as I go through this story here later on what she does to actually make contact with men that she feels it's her job to shame them for dare not wanting women of her age. And guys, mark my words, this is going to become more and more common as time goes on, because you have a whole generation of women that were conditioned not only by social media and dating apps to believe that they are all 10s, but also thanks to the you-know-what movement saying how entitled you are to everything in this world. And they spent a good chunk of their prime years, the late teens, 18 through 30, waiting around for the guys, holding out for the guys that are probably the top 4 or 5% of men, feeling that they are entitled to that. And next thing you know, they wake up in their mid-30s and definitely by 40, alone, didn't have reached the status of getting married and having kids, and they realize they just can't get those type of guys that they wanted and felt entitled to. Then they decide to settle for normal guys, good guys I might add, in their age range, probably the 30s and 40s. But guess what? Either those guys are so fed up with all of women's bullshit that they don't want anything to do with women anymore, or a lot of guys have educated themselves on female nature and game and all that and have gotten their shit together, made themselves successful, and they're not after women in their age range, 30s and 40s. They're after women in their 20s, doing the same thing that this woman once did probably in her prime. Because I'm willing to bet you this woman, I don't know what she looks like, I didn't bother to look it up, but I'm willing to bet you that if she was, good looking in her 20s and so her prime, she probably didn't give the same guys that she's bitching about now the time of day back then. But now that she's in her 40s and it's a different ball game and guys aren't lining up for her, now she's mad. Now she's shaming guys for doing what we're biologically driven to do. We're visual creatures. Nature's design is to be attracted to the most beautiful, good-looking faces, body types, youth, fertility, hence younger women. And if we can do it, we're going to go for that any day of the week. So instead of, for her and other women like her that write articles like this, instead of them taking action to make themselves as desirable as possible by getting in great shape, eating well, making themselves as feminine as possible, like growing their hair, dressing really well and sexy, doing their nails, taking care of themselves, it's easier to point the finger at us and insult us. So I'm going to go through this article here, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about here. Starts out saying, dating in your 40s, ain't it a bitch? If you're not sure why it's a bitch, let me count the ways. First of all, dating just generally kind of sucks. Guys, just in those first few sentences, you can see her attitude here. For every one halfway decent person you meet 10 weirdos, flakes, sex maniacs, or just plain old people you don't gel with. But in your 40s, it gets much worse. Much worse. For one, men in their 40s suddenly decide you're too old for them. Yes, you go your whole life dating men who are your age, give or take a year or two, and suddenly, boom, the only guys who want you are in their 50s or 60s or 20s. I suppose it has something to do with those barely working ovaries. Or maybe it's Hollywood. Thanks to men like George Clooney, Bruce Willis, and Nick Cage, men have been accustomed to seeing guys in their 50s banging chicks in their early 30s. They just naturally think this applies to them too. Well, I have news for you, lady. They're not just banging chicks in their 30s, they're banging chicks that are in their 20s. Okay? And my quick response to that is, tough fucking shit. Okay? Because understanding human nature, like I said in the beginning, we're visual creatures. We're attracted to what we see. So if we have the capability, we have the ability to date younger women that are fantastic looking and take care of themselves and great bodies and all that, we're going to go for it. But those of us that have been around the block and lived a little, we know that's great. They can be good looking and have great bodies and all that. But if they don't have a good attitude, if they're not fun to be around, if they're a pain in the ass, older guys who have more experience, and like many of you guys watching this, aren't going to give those chicks the time of day. But there are some situations where the younger ones, some of them do have good attitudes. They are out there. I know some. Trust me. Believe me on that. But you can't blame us. In the same exact way that women go for guys that make more money, have more advanced degrees, have higher status, all that. We're doing what we're biologically programmed to do, so to speak, and women do what they're biologically programmed to do. But you don't see a guy writing an article trashing her, or women doing what they do, at least not as much. But you don't see her bringing that up. She doesn't say, well, you know what, guys do this and I don't like that, but you know what? We do the same thing but on a different level. No. There's no accountability there. She's pointing the finger towards the guys, because it's much more easier to do so and convenient. Goes on to say, so then you get these emails from dudes on online dating sites who are 10 years older than you, who probably don't want kids since they are sending you barely working ovaries and email. And if you took a look at their age range, the vast majority of them want a woman 5, 10, even 15 years younger than themselves. For what? And she has what capitalized here. For what, I ask? Unless your concern is kids, what right have you, Mr. 55-year-old, to cut off the age range you were looking for at 45? By the way, none of these dudes even remotely resemble George Clooney. Well, guess what? Most dudes aren't going to resemble George Clooney or have his personality and charisma and charm and all that, or his money or status. But there are a lot of good-looking guys that have their shit together that can definitely date younger women. Guys that are in their 50s or even 60s that can date younger women 10, 15, 20 years younger than them. And you bet your ass they're going to do it. But again, hearing how this woman is carrying on here, how bitter she is, and that's the strong word here. Even if she was damn good looking for her age in her 40s, let's just say for argument's sake, who the fuck wants to deal with a personality like this? She's just bitter and nasty. Who wants this? Nobody would. And I'm willing to bet you that if this person, this woman, and women her age range would work hard to take care of themselves, if they would go to the gym, work out, and when I say work out, I don't mean walk on level 3 on the treadmill for half an hour, 3 days a week. I'm talking lifting weights, doing squats, lunges, working your body, working those legs, working that ass, working lots of core exercises to tone up that stomach, arm exercise to tone up those arms, eating well, dressing sexy, long hair. A lot of women past the age 35 start cutting their hair shorter and shorter and shorter. Don't do that. Long hair sexy. Doing all the things they can do to make themselves visually appealing. And I guarantee you that their dating life, the amount of men that are interested in them, would take off. But again, is she talking about that? No. She's blaming guys. She's not saying what can we do to fix ourselves to improve our odds. Now, does that mean a woman that does all that to improve themselves, to look better, does that mean that they are going to get guys in their age range? They may get some, but they're going to still get older guys. But that's a hell of a lot better than just being spiteful and bitching and complaining, because the only person she's going to have around her, the only thing, are her cats, because they can't understand what the fuck she's saying. But just bitter, blaming guys. And I might add, guys, while I'm on this rant, at any time has she talked about younger women? Does she shame younger women for dating the older guys? I don't see that. And I'm telling you now, it's not in this article. So there's another thing. Point the finger at us, she does. So she goes on, so I've begun age shaming these men. Yes, someone has to do it. It might as well be me. They are age shaming me by their age range, or at least age shaming womankind in general. So I must stand up for femalehood everywhere and age shame them back. Yeah, wait till you see this, guys. So this is where she proceeds to go on these dating apps where she's been seeing these guys that either reject her or have an age range that she's not in. She goes on to email these guys and give them shit for their choice in women. First one, to the 56-year-old man who wrote me who was seeking women 40 to 49, hello, thanks for your email, but I prefer men who are also willing to date women their own age. No response. Well, no fucking shit. If someone sent me an email giving me a hard time about my choices, I wouldn't respond either. Or if I would, I'd tell her to go fuck herself. Number 2, to the 58-year-old man who was looking for women 35 through 45, wow, you are 58 years old and willing to date women 13 years younger than yourself. How amazing. He actually wrote back and said, oh, I didn't notice that. That was supposed to be 50. Thanks. So he's willing to go 8 years younger. How nice. Well, that guy was a pussy. He should just own it and said, yeah, that's the range I'm looking for, 35 through 45. Stop fucking bitching. Number 3, the third guy she contacts. To the 48-year-old man who wants a woman 28 through 44, she puts 28 exclamation points. In his profile, he freely admits to knocking a few years off his age for screening purposes, and then says that it's not because of age, but because of his young lifestyle. I wrote asking him what young lifestyle a 40-year-old man, or however he really is, was capable that he thought a 48-year-old woman wouldn't be capable of. No answer yet. See this, guys? She's actually writing these guys, harassing them because of their choices. Now, do you think any of these guys are writing, harassing women because they only want a man, let's just say, that has an advanced degree? No, we're not going to do that. You know, there are plenty of women out there that wouldn't give a guy the time of day if he didn't have a college degree. Okay, right now. And I know this because guess what, guys? I don't have a college degree. I went to college. I was a screw up. I was always in trouble and detention and suspension and all that shit in junior high and high school. Okay, I almost got kicked out of my senior year in high school. Barely graduated. When I got to college, I started taking an interest in business and also, interestingly enough, my psychology classes, which I had to take as an elective. I thought it was really fascinating. So between the business courses and the psychology courses and history, I started really enjoying school, but on my terms, because in college you pick your schedule. Nobody's, watching out to make sure you get to school on time and all that bullshit. And I did very well. But because I had a thing for business, when I was 21, I dropped out of school to go in business for myself. And I never regretted it at all because I did very well. And it's been one business after the other over the years of my life for the last 21 years, because I'm 42. But there are women that will not give me the time of day because I don't have a college degree. Meanwhile, I have zero debt, never had any college debts because I paid as I went, okay? Make damn good money. And there are guys just out there just like me. No college degree, but they have no debt. Make damn good money. Many of them own their own businesses, whatever they happen to be. And there are a lot of women that would go for a guy that would have a college degree because he has that status of the degree, but is up to his eyeballs in debt for some college degree that was a worthless piece of crap major that he took. And he makes, okay money, but she wouldn't go out with a guy that has good money but doesn't have their college degree. But do you see us bitching and complaining, harassing women through emails on these sites like her? No way. You say, hey, it's her goddamn loss, right? And also, if a guy did this, then the guy would probably be banned from that dating app or whatever it happened to be because he was harassing, but she can get away with it. Crazy. She finishes up saying, yes, I'm well aware this is probably not going to make these men suddenly want to date a woman their own age. Gee, you think? But it makes them think for even half a second, then I've done my job. Now we'll answer that email from the 29-year-old. Thanks very much. Well, I can tell her right now that no guy will even think a nanosecond about that. They're going to laugh. And that's only going to reinforce the point that why would I go out with some of these harpies that are my age range, that are bitter, spiteful, angry, all that crap, when I can go out when I have the resources and the charm and the skills and the charisma to date a woman 10, 15, 20 years younger if I wanted to. A woman in her 20s that's pretty, takes care of herself, has a good attitude, good personality. Don't waste your time on those women that are younger. Don't waste your time, guys. If you have the means, if you got the confidence, you got the game, the charm, and the money, you can attract women in their 20s, cool. But don't waste your time on hot ones, just even if they have a bitchy attitude or they're a pain in the ass. There are good ones out there, you just got to do some screening. But why would any guy settle for date or get involved with a woman in her 40s that has a bad attitude like this? No way. There are plenty of women, and don't get me wrong, that are in their 40s that I know, they're damn good looking. But they work hard to take care of themselves. It is a lifestyle. You got to go to the gym all the time. You got to eat well. You got to, do your work on yourself. And the older you get, the harder it is. Now, do those women, can they attract the top % of guys like they maybe could in their 20s? No. But they can get a lot of guys. So, for this woman here and any other woman that is feeling that way that may happen to watch this video, don't blame guys. Okay, accept reality, and remember, you guys can be just as picky, but in a different way too. The best thing you can do is work on yourselves, work on your bodies, be more feminine, have a good attitude, not like this chick, and I guarantee you, your prospects will multiply vastly. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. I thought it was a pretty funny thing to do. Be sure to comment down below, let me know what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.